Hi, welcome back to the MetaStellar YouTube channel. My name is Maria KOROLOV, and I'm the editor here at MetaStellar. And with me today is AMIRA LOUTFI, our reviews editor. Hi, AMIRA. Every Friday, AMIRA and I read the top 10 sci-fi and fantasy books on Amazon, or at least we try to. We don't always get far. And today, Alex KOROLOV helped us out with the reviews. So thanks, Alex, though he couldn't join us here today. So the way this works is we read the first chapters of the top 10 free speculative fiction books on Amazon. And today we have post-apocalyptic futures and lots of magic. And we've got EMP blasts and sexy shapeshifters, the usual gamut of strange and wondrous things. The link to the full article is in the description below. For those who are new to this channel, MetaStellar is an online magazine of speculative fiction, and all the content is always free for our readers. We publish original short fiction, reprints, excerpts, essays, and lots of book reviews. We're able to do this thanks to our Patreon supporters. Thank you, guys. All the staff is all volunteers, so all the money that we get goes to pay for original speculative fiction. And in fact, our spring submission cycle is now open. If you have a short story that's science fiction, fantasy, and horror, and it's less than 1,200 words, please go to the website and submit. The submission window for original fiction closes at the end of this month, so mark your calendars. All right, and let's get started. Let me pull up the first book today. This was at the top of the bestseller list, of the free bestseller list. Beyond the Night by Colleen Gleason, the first of 7 books in the Savage, that's not right. This is not the first of 7 books. It is the first of 6 books in the New Vegas Chronicles post-apocalyptic survival series. The other books are 99 cents to $3.99 each, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited. And AMIRA, you read this book. What did you think?
I thought the action was pretty good. It was pretty entertaining, but not for me. I read the first few chapters, and the best part would be the novelty and the action. Like I said, it was pretty entertaining. But there were so many characters, I couldn't get close to any of them. So that was kind of a turn off for me. There also is a bit of a Rip Van Winkle dynamic in this story, where the protagonist has been frozen for 50 years. He comes out and he discovers, the apocalypse has occurred, right? And not only that, there's also monsters. They come out at night. So it's entertaining, but it's not for me.
All right. So let's go on to the next one. We have the Hallow Haven Cozy Mysteries. So this is a box set of the first 3 of 12 books in the Hallow Haven Witch Mysteries series. The other books are $4 each, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited, which, by the way, all the books this week are in Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited is an excellent thing. If you read a lot for $10 a month, you can read as many books as you want. It's like Amazon's version of Netflix for books. It's really cool. I highly recommend it, and I'm definitely a subscriber. So one of the first things I look for is something in Kindle Unlimited, especially if there's a lot of books in a series, because I don't want to get invested in something and find out I've got to pay like $5 each for like 20 books. This is a cozy magical mystery, and I love cozy magical mysteries. The covers just like are perfect for me. I had a long week. I'm going on 2 hours of sleep right now, and it would be nice to have something light and fluffy to read this weekend. There's snow outside on the ground here today, so I'm in a mood for some warmth and sunshine. And you definitely get that with these books. Sadie has just bought a beachside cafe on a tropical island. The deal was too good to pass up. And of course, it turns out when she gets there that she has magical powers, that she has mysterious connections to the island residents, and she's thrown immediately into a mystery that only she can solve. And all of this comes as a big surprise to her. It's a bit of a cliche premise, but because it's on a tropical island, I'm willing to go for it. I'm definitely enjoying it. And after I did this review, after I finished all the reviews today, I went back and I continued reading this book. Next, we have EMP San Antonio by J.S. Donovan, a standalone book of EMP survival. The author has many other books on Amazon, many with hundreds of 5-star reviews, including several others about EMP survival. So if you're into EMP survival, that's an electromagnetic pulse. What EMPs do is they knock out all electronics, but keep everything else untouched. So it's a popular trope for like disaster thrillers these days. And Alex, my brother, read this, and he says that it starts out with some bad guys. Jose Martinez is a low-level boss in San Antonio's underground who runs his operation out of a nightclub, and he's making a deal to buy weapons from some bigger and better connected underworld boss. And so there's crime syndicates and illegal weapons. And so he says the book seems okay. But it takes a while to get to the electromagnetic pulse. And he says it's not for him. He also read the next book in today's batch, which was Shadow Thief by Eva Chase. The first of 4 books in the Flirting with Monsters Paranormal Romance series. The other books are $5 each, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited. And so this isn't his kind of book. I don't know why he volunteered to read it. I mean, he picked it. I guess he liked the sexy cover. But he says he's not a huge reader of romance novels, but the opening has plenty of action and 0 romance, so he liked it. And it starts right out with the main character saying that she's going to end the world. And right up front, it starts with a bang. She's breaking into the house of somebody who collects jewels, rare artifacts, money, and shadowy creatures. And he says it's really fast-paced and full of creatures and treasures and fires and escapes. And he says he's going to keep reading. He doesn't mind a little romance as long as it doesn't hurt the plot. So that's a good endorsement. I might check that book out. Then we have a book that AMIRA read, and it is The Alpha Awakens by Anna Fury. The first of 3 books in the Alien Skies. That's not right. Why do I keep saying that? Okay. The Alpha Awakens by Anna Fury is the first of 5 books in the Alpha Compound series of post-apocalyptic romance. The other books are $4 to $5 each, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited, but the 5th book is coming out next week. So AMIRA is the one who read this. And AMIRA, what did you think of this book?
I'll pass. That was my main takeaway for this one. So in this world, right, there's a virus called the Awaken virus, and it makes men become violent monsters.
So is this like a zombie thing, or is this like a werewolf kind of thing?
It is an analogy for the COVID virus right now going on.
Well, but is she? Do the guys look like zombies, or do they like sexy zombies, or do they look like sexy werewolves?
They're not sexy. They just become monsters. They're
well, I see the guy on the cover. That's a hot guy. And it's a romance. It says it right there in the description. So there's going to be sexy guys in there, right?
No, there are sexy guys. But they're not the ones getting sick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically, it's kind of like mashing together the wolf shifter genre with like an analogy for the COVID virus, right? And in the beginning, there's a warning that sounds suspiciously like an advertisement. The author says, that her series often deals with difficult topics such as general violence, possessiveness, physical dominance, consent, and more. So, but then she also like reassures us that these men have a lot of redeeming qualities. So I think that would probably help people decide like whether or not they want to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the physical dominance, consent, and possessiveness would creep me out. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't want that. And yeah. But also just the trope of the alpha male and all that stuff. I get so annoyed with that.
Yeah,
it's a myth, people. There are no alpha wolves. But anyway. so you're gonna pass on this one.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I kind of like the wolf shifter tropes, right? Not really the pack politics, but I like the romantic element of it, where the shifters are like, you know, they mate, and you know, having a mate is like more serious than getting married, and they have to, otherwise they'll go crazy. I kind of like I like that part of the trope.
All right.
So, yeah,
and next we have this book that like we've had on here. This is the third time in a row or something. Once Upon a Time by Demelza Carlton. And it's a collected set of the first 3 books in the 25-book romance or medieval fairy tale series. And here we've got Enchant, Dance, and Fly, which are all retelling classic fairy tales. The other books in the series are $4 each. They're not in Kindle Unlimited. So sorry, correction there. So we do have a set that's not in Kindle Unlimited. But it looks like she runs free promotions for various books in this series at various times. So if you like these kinds of books, definitely keep an eye on her. She is definitely a regular on this list. We have reviewed so many other books in this series. And by me, I mean AMIRA. So do you want to give us a little refresher on what you thought of this set?
I'm not into it. I mean, I also like I read this a while ago, several months ago. And even though I did like the tone, I think the tone was like kind of old-fashioned. And so that was cool, but I feel like the structure is kind of like not very conventional. And I really like conventional like story structures and stuff. So I wouldn't be drawn back to this.
All right. So next we have Soul of a Witch, which I read. The first of 12 books in the Witches of Keating Hollow urban fantasy series. The other books are $5 each, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited. So last June, I reviewed Soulless at Sunset by the same author, which was the first book of the 3-book Last Witch Standing series. And I thought I was going to like that last book, but didn't. I went back to see how far I got, and I got bogged down in the middle of it. So I was a little apprehensive starting this one. So the story here is that Abby left her hometown when she turned 18 after a potion tragically backfired. And it's a magical town. And when she left the town, she left her magic as well. So 10 years later, her family asks her to come back because her father is sick. Meanwhile, her best friend is still in town. So's her first love and ex-boyfriend. 20 minutes after she gets into town, she rear-ends another car, and her ex-boyfriend comes to the rescue. And there's like a problematic relationship with a town cop because they remember her history. They're still like prejudiced against her. They still remember what happened. And there's just so much sadness and embarrassment in these first couple of chapters. Like she's crying and she's sad about everything, and like, oh my God. And so and like all this tragedy, and like I said, I'm going on 2 hours of sleep and I am not in the mood for that. So definitely not going to keep reading. But I do have to say the writing is well written. It pulls you in. But I'm going to go back to that tropical island instead. I'm not sticking around this one. Then we have the Kerrigan Kids Box Set by W.J. May. The first of 3 books in the 10-book The Kerrigan Kids series from USA Today bestselling author W.J. May. The others cost $4 each, and they're not in Kindle Unlimited. Oh, sorry, another exception. So lots of stuff here. The author is another big regular on these lists. She has a lot of books of this general type. And AMIRA has been reviewing these. And she also reviewed this one. And at some time in the past. Oh, back in April. You've probably forgotten all about this book.
No, actually, I remember, like, I remember that I didn't like the premise. It's about a school where, a magical school, but all the kids there hate it, and the main characters are the children of a couple of heroes, right? So their parents are like, you know, famous and well known, and the main characters are just a bunch of obnoxious teenagers. And I'm like, why would all of these magical kids be at a school that they hate? Wouldn't they just break out and run away? Yeah, so I'm like, I was really not feeling it. I actually really didn't like it.
All right. Next we go to Loved by the Leaders by Casey Morgan, a box set of the first 4 books in the Love's Hallow Auctions paranormal romance series. It includes the books Serving the Shifters, Haunted in the Hallow, Bought by the Bouncers, and Working for the Wolves. I'm creeped out just by the titles. The other books are $3 each, and they're all in Kindle Unlimited. So, AMIRA, what did you think?
Again, this one is a no for me. I'm gonna have to pass. But when I got into reading it, I read the first 3 chapters, and I didn't like it, not because it was gross. Like, when I first read the blurb, I thought, oh, gross. I shouldn't have volunteered for this one. I kind of did it, I'd like to, so you wouldn't have to read it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so what I didn't like about it is that this protagonist is madly in love with 2 men, and they're really in love with her, and they're brothers. So I'm just like, gross. And she, yeah, so that was in the blurb, but when I got to reading it, it was really, really slow. In the first chapter, like, nothing really happened. Where is it? In the second chapter, she meets like one of the brothers, and again, he's just being nice to her. He's just like, hey, you from out of town? She's like, yeah, I don't know where I am. And that's basically what happens in chapter 2. And then chapter 3 is from the perspective of the other brother, right? So you have the perspectives of like all 3 of them, right? It's also just moving really slowly. And instead of, I mean, I have a feeling that maybe somebody told her it was moving slowly and told her it needed conflict. So in the exposition, we have the author tells us about a couple of wars that were going on, like paranormal wars with like witches and you know, shifters and vampires and stuff. But I'm still just like, okay, so that's kind of interesting, but why are we having all these really boring introductions?
All right. So finally, last book on this series, and this is another one I'm actually interested in. Analog Heart by Sawyer Black and Avery Blake. It's a standalone book. And Sawyer's Black first novel on Amazon. But Avery Blake has a lot of books out there, including the Alien Invasion series, which has tons, I mean, thousands of like good reviews. And in May, we reviewed her book Long Shot, which she co-wrote with Johnny Truant. That was also on this list. So this is a post-apocalyptic cyberpunk thriller. And from reading Alex's description, I'm getting a Blade Runner kind of vibe from it. And he says the main protagonist is a rundown former cop kind of guy who's trying to make a living doing odd jobs. And he likes the premise. And the guy's name is, this is embarrassing, Bronson Dodge. And he's a cybernetically enhanced man for hire, full of old and glitchy tech that barely works. That kind of appeals to me. And the company that he used to work for filled him with critters, which are an army of nanobots supposed to make him into a super soldier, but they're frying his brain and his body. And so when the book starts, he's out on a job to save a little boy, and he has to shoot a lot of people to get to him. And he says, the book starts out full of action right from the start, and it just keeps delivering. So he's going to keep reading, and I might check it out. It sounds cool. All right. And that is it. Those are the top 10 sci-fi and fantasy books for the week. I mean, for the day. Today. Tomorrow, this is probably going to be a different set. This list changes like all the time. So grab these books now if you're interested in any of them, because you don't know how long they're going to stay free. And so if you like this kind of stuff, subscribe, hit the like button, there's some kind of an alert button or something so you can get a notification when we post these videos. We post them every Friday afternoon, so you get some free reading for the weekend. Please support us on Patreon so that we can pay for our fiction writers and for their short stories. And the link is in the description below. Have you read any of these books? Do you plan to? Leave a comment. Thanks. And see you guys next week. And see you next week, AMIRA. Bye-bye.